In this video, I want to go through the instrumentation that's commonly used in these types of productions. So before I went in and wrote this whole arrangement, I built up a template with all the tracks that I needed. So it's good practice to build up this template so that you can really just jump in and start composing. And if you want to know more about building up cinematic templates, you can check out my other series on Groove 3 that covers this. So first off over here is a piano instrument. And this is simply just to sketch out melody and chord ideas for the song. You might want to later use a piano instrument to create some emotive themes, but for now, this is just simply an idea space. Then next is the epic percussion section. So in this will be a collection of thunderous drums, like patches from Damage. I've also used some hits from Native Instruments' Action Strike. And you can complement this with some low hits like this patch over here. So these low hits are just going to give extra energy in the lower frequency range of your frequency spectrum in your song. Then what also works well are some timps. And they also have a tonal quality so they can follow along with your bass instruments. And some tiekos also work well. And this is using a pattern-based preset in Action Strikes. And these patches work pretty well because you can just get some really fast ideas down with percussion patterns. Then also what works pretty well are some sort of field or snare rolls. Also some cymbal swells. And these just work really well to create some transitions between different sections in your arrangement. And also to complement the low percussion, it works pretty well to add in some other different textures like metals or woods. In this one, I've used a metal patch from Damage. And this is going to be used to just give that idea of swords crashing together. And most heroes have some type of weapon, so they'll just give that image to you while you're playing it out. And then finally, I've added in a rock kit. And this is going to be a bit of a hybrid composition. So it's got some classical instruments plus with some modern instruments. And that's where this rock kit is going to come in handy. Now next, onto the strings. So you can either use a full string ensemble patch that has all the string sections in, like this. If you play higher up, and then lower down, it's covering all the strings within the string section. Or you can break it down to the different sections so you have more control over your strings in the orchestra. First violins, second violins, your violas, your cellos, and your double bass. Typically, you'll be using more ensemble string sections than solo instruments. And these strings are more just going to be spelling out the chords because all the action is actually going to be coming from the brass. So this brings me to the stars of the show, the brass section over here. The melody is going to be the huge part of this heroic piece. This will be the theme or motif of the composition. If you think of all classic themes, the thing that'll stick in your head the most are these brass melodies. And in this brass section, there's going to be some trumpets, some French horns, another French horns patch. So this includes 6 horns and this includes 12 horns. then some trombones, then some basso. That's just a lower trombone or horn instrument. And I've included a solo French horn, and this is going to be playing the main melody idea in the beginning. So it's nice to have this solo instrument, and then when it kicks in later in the arrangement, the full brass section comes into action. And to complement the brass, I've also added in some other brass patches just to give it a different flavor. And these are just going to be playing some hard staccato notes. So just giving it an extra flavor. You might want to double up or layer different libraries together just to get a bigger sound with the brass. Then over here, I've added some guitars. And this is going to be some distorted guitars to really give this piece a lot of power. I've recorded these guitars in, but you can use sampled guitar parts. But the nice thing about recording an instrument in is that you get that human element. So if you can, it's great to try recording at least one real instrument. Maybe you can play in a string part or even lay in some vocals. And then the last subfolder over here is the sort of sound design elements, which includes some synths. And these are like pulsing synths that are just going to keep the piece moving forward. Let's just bring that volume up. Another synth over here. Just giving some atmosphere with a bit of a rhythm. And another patch. Also just giving some atmosphere. So you can use some pulsing atmospheric synth sounds just to give a sort of sound design bed that'll layer underneath or create some different transitions between sections. Following this is a piano. Like I said, you can have more than one piano. I had a piano in the beginning that was just a very efficient CPU plugin so I could lay down some ideas. And now this is a better piano library so I can really just give that emotive feeling. And what also works pretty well in these epic hero pieces are to add in some choirs. And just depending what type of heroic character you've got, you might want to either add in male vocals or female vocals or mix them up. So that gives you an idea of the instrumentation that's going to be used. I'd highly recommend building up a template like this with the instruments that you're going to use. This will improve your speed and workflow with the composition, especially if you're going to be composing more hero pieces. It's great just having this ready-built template to quickly open up and jump in and start composing. So now that that covers the instrumentation, in the next video, let's take a look at how we're going to come up with the main motif.